I imagine it's in the back of Jensen's mind. Of course, a proper opportunity would really sway his mind. I think I can talk him into it. We haven't had much conversation about it, but that's that third car that I'm driving, the 84 car. We need to run that car more, so hopefully we can figure out how to run that car more often. So you want to run the car more often. Jimmy Johnson's not necessarily driving a whole lot of the road and street courses, maybe. Jensen Button's interested.
Hello, third full-time car to run for Legacy MC, but not with one solid driver.
Exactly.
See Colleague Racing 16 car last year.
Yep. And hey, if you need somebody to fill in for a little bit of time, there's this guy right over here.
Hi, guys. Where do I send my resume, James?
Sure. Yeah. Let's figure it out, shall we? All right. With that in note, we're going to turn our attention here to the upcoming Daytona 500 because we've got a lot of news to get to from there when it comes to drivers because let's face it, drivers coming in, drivers not necessarily going to be able to make it through. What do you got, John?
Real quick, the car 56.
Garage 56?
Yeah, that one is on the YouTube now in our second feed because OBS decided to crash.
Oh, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but we are back. So, we apologize for the slight technical difficulty, but hey, we're back. We appreciate it. You can check out the Garage 56 entry right there as we get ready to go to break here. As I said, the driver lineup obviously going to change here because there's only 40 starting positions for the Daytona 500. There'll be more than 40 drivers wanting to get in. Elio Castroneves, not going to make it. We talked about that last week. Got a couple of drivers who will. We'll talk about that when we come back on the other side here. Also, rules changes within NASCAR. Remember that Hail Melon move? I know you do, from last year at Martinsville by Ross Chastain. There's a rule that affects that, which was actually already in place. And apparently NASCAR has decided how they're going to handle that should a driver think about doing it again. Plus, we'll talk about a whole bunch of sponsorship news because, there's a lot of it this week coming out of the NASCAR world as we prepare to get into full blast the 2023 season.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. back to the Championship Racing Network.
Hey, welcome back into the show. Steve West, Matt Nicholson, producer John Myers here, back in studio all together again. Don't forget how you can check us out. Obviously, you can check us out right here on the mothership, the frequency that's behind us if you happen to be watching on CRN Live. Oh, by the way, there is CRN Live on YouTube. You go to YouTube, just type in CRN Live. You get to watch the show, radio on YouTube. Pretty cool stuff. And by the way, if you happen to be traveling outside of the FM reach, don't forget about the app that the flagship has too. That way you can take us pretty much anywhere. Last week we were noting that Helio Castroneves is not going to be attempting to make the Daytona 500. An Xfinity Series driver is going to try it, though. In the process, going to be actually getting his first Cup Series start, or attempt at it anyway. And we say attempt at it because I'm not necessarily questioning the driver's overall basic ability. It's Stewart-Haas Racing driver Riley Erbst. It's the car. He's set to climb into the Rick Ware Racing number 15 Cup car in a couple of weeks. Sonny D will be a sponsor. But here's the thing. He's guaranteed to get the start because the car's chartered. Okay.
Ware Stewart, you mean that Ware Stewart-Haas car?
Yeah, because I get the real funny feeling this car is going to be really stringently prepped by Stewart-Haas Racing. This will be about the best car Rick Ware Racing has had in quite a while in the Cup Series. Sonny D set to remain with the Ford and Stewart-Haas Racing teams this year. They're going to move to Kevin Harvick, sponsor him in the Stewart-Haas Racing number 4 Mustang at Darlington this spring and in Kansas in the fall. That means a potential throwback. Sonny D throwback? To what?
There won't be one.
Be interesting to see what they do.
I can't think of anything that would be a legit throwback.
It'll be interesting to see what they end up doing.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got. Another driver who, like Castroneves, would like to give the Daytona 500 a try. Indycar driver Connor Daly. Daly made his NASCAR debut last October driving for the Money Team in the Truck Series, where they did run the number 50. Daly said that when talks with Castroneves fell apart about bringing him in to run the Great American Race, the Daytona 500, the team actually called him. Daly told the Associated Press, quote, "Who knows what will happen in the next couple of days or weeks, I guess, if that opportunity were to come up. I chatted with a young man by the name of Helio Castroneves earlier, and I think for him, an opportunity like that could probably come about really any time. But for me, I don't know if an opportunity like that would come again. So if there's a chance I feel like I cannot do it or not try to do it at least, he's going to end up trying it if given the opportunity. But here's the thing. You're just going to jump at the chance to get into the race because, no disrespect to Floyd Mayweather, who can throw money after money after money after money at this particular effort, the cars aren't that good."
No, they're not. They're not. It's more of, we know that the cars are all but dead equal with equal parts and equal chassis and whole 9 yards. It's an engine issue.
Yeah.
They don't have enough steam under the hood to get it done. 1. 2, personal opinion, the reason I don't think Castroneves and Daly, I don't think Daly is going to get in the 500. Here's why. Because there's little things called certain protocols that you're supposed to follow, keyword supposed to follow, by running at minimum an ARCA event to get super speedway approved. Because even though you ran an Indy car at 235, 240 around Indianapolis Motor Speedway, getting in a pack of 40 cars mere inches or less than inches apart,
Yeah. It's a different animal.
is a little bit different animal.
All right. So here and I'll say this. I understand what the rules are. And I understand why the rules are in place. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I'm kind of, because I stop and I think about, for example, the rules that state you need 40 F1 super license points to be able to get a Formula One super. You need 40 points, right? If you win an IndyCar title, you only get 30.
Yep.
But I'm sitting here thinking to myself, most of the drivers that we've talked about that have run Formula One and then came over and did IndyCar basically said IndyCar was actually a little bit harder.
Yep.
My question is this, and I get it. Tony Stewart, John Andretti, Robbie Gordon, Kurt Busch. Soon enough, next year, Kyle Busch, maybe. Certainly Kyle Larson. They're going to have to go through the rookie initiation. as they attempt to do the double.
ROP. Yep.
But at some point, don't you have to look at it and go, okay, NASCAR is the top level of stock car. Formula One's the top level of open wheel. IndyCar, I don't care how big of a fan you are of Formula One, IndyCar is the top level of American-based open wheel racing.
No doubt.
And again, even Formula One drivers have said running IndyCar is technically a little bit more difficult than running Formula One.
True.
At what point do you look at it and go, you know what? You've raced at the top level of IndyCar. If you want to run the Cup Series, we'll let you. Without having to overcome the hurdle of going and running an ARCA race.
I keep going back, and the reason I say what I say is I'm saying what I'm saying is I keep going back. Remember the year 2006. Arguably one of the top 2 largest viewed ARCA races from 2006 to current day. You had an F1 world champion, if I'm not mistaken, 2-time world champion, had to go through the rookie orientation practice, better known as ARCA, at Talladega. His name, Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yep.
He rolled out a number 4 Texaco Havoline Dodge Charger, qualified on the outside pole, ran very, very well from that race, I remember.
Yeah.
I think they cleared him by lap 15.
Yeah. I mean, at some point in time, I think that there needs to be a modicum. And I get it. Daytona and Talladega are different animals than, say, if he were to go to Circuit of the Americas or go to Atlanta. But understand, Atlanta's got now some of the same rules that Daytona and Talladega.
Or even go this far. Say you've got somebody like Connor Daly, Elio Castroneves, that comes in between said time of open test at Daytona for the ARCA series to said time of race, which is approximately 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you have those guys do that, round you up a group of 6 other cars. Have you an 8-car test, put those 2 guys out there, or how many ever.
Sure.
Have it limited to 8 cars. Say if you got 4 drivers, let's just say Castroneves, Connor Daly. Let's say, hypothetically, Scott McLaughlin's going to jump in. Okay? You got those 3? I don't know. Let's throw in. Who can I throw in here?
Would you throw in veterans, or would you put in youngers?
I would say anybody that wants to jump at a chance to run a stock car, whether it be whether it be veteran or rookie, either or. Woo! Let's say Kyle Kirkwood.
Okay.
All right. You got Kyle Kirkwood, Castroneves, Connor Daly, Scott McLaughlin. You got those 4 guys. Mm-hmm. All right. You find 4 other cars, go out there to where you have somewhat of a legitimate pack. 4 cars is not a pack. I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
8 cars or plus, that's a legitimate pack.
Now you're starting to get there.
Let them go out there, make them run 25 straight laps. And you have to, as the saying goes, you got to hold a pretty wheel for 25 laps. And if you run 25 laps and you can maintain staying in that 8-car pack and not lose the draft, you're approved.
I might alter it in one way. Because, I mean, you're going to have crews down there that are going to work on the cars. I'm going to want to, as NASCAR, probably check and make sure that you can do everything. And that means I'm going to make you come down pit road and I'm going to make you do a pit stop under race day rules. In other words, you got to come off of the track, more than likely in a group.
I don't object to that.
You got to get down to pit road speed. You got to get into your pit cleanly. You got to get out cleanly, and you got to get back up to speed. If you can do that whole thing over, I would even add some laps. I might go 40.
Yeah.
If you can do all that, and in 40 laps you can do it, boom, you're clear. And that's your rookie orientation program. You don't have to run the ARCA race. You're clear. Let's do that kind of rookie orientation program, NASCAR. Again,
cheers, Mark.
We're here. This is what we do. We're idea people. We'd like to help you out.
Oh, just wait till we get to F1 news, because a lot of stuff that I have said on these airways guess what? They're alive.
Yeah, they're coming to fruition. Rules changes for 2023 because, after all, NASCAR can't leave the rule book alone. But in this case, it probably needed to be done because nobody had done this before. The move by Ross Chastain at Martinsville last year, not illegal, called the Hail Melon. You know, the one that caused his die-cast sale to become the most sold one of 2022. Well, NASCAR has been quiet about that move overall, except to say that it was legal under the rules. Until now. On Tuesday of this week, NASCAR said that they will not allow that move any longer. Stated that they're not adding actually another rule. They said that there is a current rule that already covers it that technically does make it illegal. It's called Rule 10.5.2.6.
So they lied last year.
Yeah. That rule, as it appears in the rule book, says, quote, safety is a top priority for NASCAR and NEM. Therefore, any violations deemed to compromise the safety of an event or otherwise pose a dangerous risk to the safety of competitors, officials, spectators, or others are treated as the highest degree of seriousness. Safety violations will be handled on a case-by-case basis. It is those last words that technically made Ross Chastain's move legal because they chose not to enforce said rule at Martinsville last year.
True.
They are saying that now they will choose to enforce said rule should this happen again, should any driver attempt a similar move to the Hail Melon that would the rule be enforced. They state that the penalty would likely either be a lap or a time penalty. So with that ruling coming down, Trackhouse has decided what to do with the actual Hail Melon car. They're going to preserve it as it is. On social media, after the rules were detailed, Justin Marks, quoted on the official team Twitter account, said, quote, keeping the car exactly as it came off the track as a show car, it's going to cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars. We've gone back and forth on what to do, but given the new ruling that NASCAR has made, we've decided to preserve the car.
I don't think you're going back on money, Justin Marks, from keeping that car.
No,
I think you'll be okay.
Ross's move was a historic moment and should be preserved for the fans. I would imagine at some point in time, if it finds its way outside of the Trackhouse Racing headquarters as a centerpiece in their lobby, it'll find its way into the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
And, you know, I watched it again last night. NASCAR Race Hub, live from Los Angeles, and then they went into kind of redoing a couple of shows that they have done during this offseason. And one of the shows was actually a preview show for the 2023 season, during which they replayed the interview that Jamie Little did with Joey Logano after he won the title. And Joey Logano said, just on the off chance that somebody was going to try to throw a Hail Melon, he was trying to figure out over the last couple of laps how he might defend it. So that move was on the mind of at least Joey Logano and probably several other drivers at Phoenix. But even Ross Chastain said, yeah, Phoenix is a lot different from Martinsville. There was no way I was going to do it.
Yeah.
And I get that. But the thing about it is there are only a certain number of tracks I would even consider trying that at. I certainly wouldn't try it at Talladega. Nobody's going to try that at Talladega because you start scraping the wall, you're scrubbing speed. You don't need to be scrubbing speed at a Daytona, Talladega, or an Atlanta. This is if you were ever going to do it again, this is a purely short track move.
Yes. Martinsville, New Hampshire,
Richmond?
maybe.
I'm not sure I'd do it at Dover.
No.
I wouldn't do it at Dover. I wouldn't do it at Bristol.
Nope.
It'd have to be a flat track with a wall that I'm pretty certain not going to end up causing me to get punted out into the infield.
Yep.
So, but anyway, so that's cleared up. Sponsorship news. And oh my gosh, a lot of it. Coming up next as we get into hour 2 on CRN.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. Four tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Yeah, welcome back in. Steve West, Matt Nicholson, producer John Myers with you here on this particular weekend where NASCAR is back. Don't forget, tomorrow evening, it's the Busch Light Clash, the money grab. And 2 weeks from now, Daytona 500. We'll detail all that next weekend. Cowlick Racing, Nutrien Ag Solutions extending their partnership into 2023. It began in 2019, the two sides working together. They will again this year to sponsor the number 16 of A.J. Allmendinger as he returns to Cup Series racing full-time once again. Since 2019, Nutrien Ag has been a sponsor on the Cowlick car for 59 total races in both Cup and Xfinity competition. Over at Hendrick Motorsports, Kelly Blue Book has signed to continue their partnership with Hendrick Motorsports and driver Chase Elliott, and a deal that goes through next year. They're going to get at least 2 races as a primary sponsor both years. They're going to be an associate sponsor for the entire season. It's a partnership that actually began back in 2016. RFK Racing, Brad Keselowski, continuing the partnership with King's Hawaiian Bread as well. This year, the deal expands out. It'll be 9 total races for 2023 and a multi-year extension. First race going to be the LA Clash. Then they're going to be on the hood at Atlanta, the Bristol Dirt Race. King's Hawaiian Bread and Dirt. Little gritty. Kansas, Gateway, Sonoma, Pocono, Daytona in the fall. In other words, the final race before the playoffs begin. And Martinsville, the last race before the championship round.
Yep.
Trackhouse Racing has re-upped with Jockey for 2023. The patriotic look is going to be on both cars, Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain. The Jockey company will also outfit the team for the duration of the deal as well. They're going to be on the 99 of Suarez for 3 races, the 1 of Chastain in another 3 events, so 6 total. JTG Dougherty Racing has gotten themselves a nice little influx. The roster of 2023 sponsors for the number 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has the primary sponsor, Kroger, leading the list, obviously. Some of the other sub-brands under the Kroger Supermarket primary company name are going to be featured as well. They include names like Dillon's, Food for Less, Fry's Food Stores, Mariano's, Ralph's, Smith's. Then they've got bigger names like Coca-Cola, which you'll get a number of times on the hood. Kellogg's is back. They're set to feature their Cheez-It crackers. And the Frosted Flakes brand is back on the hood of a NASCAR stock car, this time on the 47. Also in, Blue Buffalo Pet Foods, Dreyer's, Edie's Ice Cream. It depends on what side of the Mississippi you're on as to whether it's Dreyer's or Edie's. They've said, to highlight the Drumstick snack brand on the hood. Treetop Fruits is going to be there. Upfield Butter brand Country Crock is going to be there. Pit Boss Grills with their rubs, spices. And someone that we're familiar with at Talladega Superspeedway, Sugarland's Shine is going to be on the hood, among others.
Nice.
They've got themselves quite the little roster of sponsors.
They do.
Good for them. Joe Gibbs Racing has announced they've re-upped with the sponsor that the team started off with some 30-plus years ago, back in 1992, talking about Interstate Batteries. The Dallas, Texas-based company has re-upped their deal and increased it from 6 races as primary last year up to 13 for 2023. It'll be spread across all 4 Cup Series cars, but mostly will be on the hoods of Christopher Bell and rookie Ty Gibbs. Bell will get 5 races. Gibbs will get him for 6 races. Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr. get him for 1 race each. Speaking of Gibbs, Monster Energy, which has sponsored his racing efforts all the way from, basically the ARCA Menard series all the way up through the Xfinity title last year, announced they're going to continue as a primary sponsor for the 2023 Cup Series Rookie of the Year candidate. Company has said they're going to be a primary sponsor for a majority of the Cup Series races this year, but they didn't actually divulge a true number.
I'm pretty sure it will be 20 plus.
I'm sure of that.
Sure, it'll be 20 plus.
It won't be 33 or 36 because, well, we've already said Interstate Batteries get 6 of those. Could it be 29? Again,
I don't know.
We'll find out. Toyota, as we have noted in the past, really kind of limited to Joe Gibbs Racing and whatever satellite operation they're linked up with, which is currently 2311 Racing, not 23 by 1. That means 6 full-time cars for Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota. 2311 will on occasion run a 3rd car, so 7 entries at most against the much bigger Chevrolet and Ford operations. David Wilson, Toyota Racing Development President, recently talked about that to NBC Sports and said, quote, "We've got some good irons in the fire right now. What was once a very effective strategy to amass our resources across fewer cars with the marginalization of the areas that we have to play in and the flattening out of the playing field, we definitely need some more help." In other words, what they're basically saying is we've reached out to several other teams and we'd really like to add more to that number of 6, maybe 7. You just said it with a whole lot of $10 words. When Toyota came into NASCAR back in 2007, they said that they envisioned having about a quarter of the field running their particular cars. That was back when Cup Series ran 43 cars on the starting field. Since then, we've dropped down to 40, but Toyota's never actually had even 10 cars in any one starting field. Wilson noted that 9 to 10 cars is probably actually our sweet spot with this car.
3, 4, 5, 6. Hamlin, Truex, Bell, Gibbs, Wallace, Reddick. That's 6.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get 4 more?
Hendrick ain't going.
Hendrick ain't going. The only ones that I could see going, and this is probably laughable, but I'm just going to say it. Front row. That's
Maybe,
2.
but they've been really locked in with Ford over the years.
That's 2. Rick Ware.
Potentially. If he felt like he could actually get a deal that would not hurt him. Wilson added that though he has talked to a couple of teams within NASCAR and a couple of potential Cup Series team owners about fielding Toyota cars, he ruled out anything like an anchor team, in other words, a Hendrick Motorsports or a Team Penske switching from Chevrolet or Ford, respectively, over to Toyota. Added, quote, "We're talking to a lot of the incumbents. If you are a team, you want to have an association with the manufacturer. The good news is there's a lot of interest." We heard a lot of interest before. Oh, that's right, Formula One. We'll get back to that. Noting the bad side, it is not going to be an established team. So you're going to be basically courting one of the newcomers, trying to get them to come in and use Toyota. I mean, at this point in time, if I'm Trackhouse, I'm happy with Chevrolet. They've done us really, really good.
For sure.
If I'm Stewart Haas Racing, I'm not moving anywhere if and until Dodge comes back. And the only reason I say that is because he's got that relationship with Dodge in the NHRA.
Yep.
Otherwise, he seems quite happy over at Ford. Team Penske, we just talked about it. Roush Fenway Keselowski. Roush has been Ford forever. These are teams that aren't switching. Richard Childress ain't switching from Chevy. As we noted, Hendrick ain't switching from Chevy. I doubt seriously what was Petty GMS is now Legacy Motor Club. I doubt seriously they're switching. Trackhouse ain't going nowhere. Who you going to get? You start scraping the bottom of the barrel there looking for some of these backmarker teams, and that ain't going to do you any good. It's going to have, yes, the Toyota badge on it, but guess where they're playing? At the back of the pack. That's not what you're looking for.
No, because 2311 and Gibbs is going to get all of the...
They are the monsters. They're the big fish in that pond.
The best way to word it, Gibbs in 2311 will get the ceramic plate food. The others will get the paper plates.
Bingo. Fox Sports has announced their race announcer lineup for 2023. The obvious being the booth pairing of Mike Joy and Clint Boyer for all your Cup Series races. Third person joining in on a rotating basis. We talked about it here on the show. Tony Stewart gets in the Busch Light Clash on the Daytona 500, and that'll rotate throughout the rest of their part of the season. Along pit road, Jamie Little, Regan Smith returning with Josh Sims getting his first year in that role doing pit road. Larry McReynolds, of course, doing tech stuff.
Man, it's going to be weird not seeing Vince Welch on the pit road.
You're not kidding.
Man.
Xfinity Series Dash for Cash races have been announced. Remember, Cup regulars not eligible. Only full-time Xfinity Series drivers get into this money grab. The COTA race is going to determine the first 4 eligible racers. The first bonus money purse will be handed out after the Richmond race. Then again at Martinsville, Talladega, and Dover. Glad that they're doing it here at Talladega again.
Yep.
Last week, we noted Joe Graff Jr. was likely to get about the best ride he was ever going to have in RSS racing. But with all due respect to RSS racing, that now has changed. Somehow, Joe Graff Jr. is going to get 5 turns behind the wheel of the number 19 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota Supra. The first being at Auto Club Speedway, and then the very next week at Las Vegas. He'll be back behind the wheel at New Hampshire, Richmond, New Hampshire, and then finally Kansas Speedway in the fall. So Graff has all 33 races spoken for between RSS and Joe Gibbs Racing, so he gets a full ride this year.
Anybody ever wanted to see what it looks like with a Gibbs car at the back? Here you go.
But that being said, for Joe Graff Jr., congratulations, because this right here would be the definition of falling upstairs.
True. Very true.
On a massive mattress.
True.
This was the softest landing in the history of NASCAR. Good God.
True.
He's not the only one set to drive the number 19. Connor Mosack has been confirmed to drive the car in at least 3 races, Chicago, Pocono, and Road America this summer. He's also going to run 6 ARCA Menard Series races for Joe Gibbs Racing this coming season, and that's all in addition to his 20 race slate of Xfinity races with Sam Hunt Racing. Let's go back to RSS Racing. Going to feature 2 full-time cars and 1 part-time. The part-time one, obviously, the Joe Graff Jr. one. The other 2 going to be piloted by the brother combination of Ryan Sieg in the 39 and Kyle Sieg in their new number 28 Ford Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
They're expanding. I'll give them credit for this. They're
Yeah.
expanding out. Hopefully they're not overreaching. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't think they are, but sometimes when you don't think they are, they actually are.
That's true.
So
We'll find out.
maybe not.
Fox Sports Xfinity Series coverage is going to be spearheaded by Adam Alexander again this year. Revolving door of Cup Series drivers joining him for commentary, led by at Daytona Ryan Blaney and Austin Dillon. Regan Smith, Josh Sims will be covering pit road. I meant to do this during Cup, and I apologize for this. Our thoughts and prayers going out to one Chocolate Myers. If that name sounds familiar to you, it should. Think Dale Earnhardt's one Daytona 500 win where he was the gas man. His wife, Karen, announced on social media Thursday that Chocolate's been diagnosed with lymphoma. Man who famously gassed up the number 3 for Earnhardt and then became a commentator on SiriusXM Satellite Radio's NASCAR channel, recently diagnosed with the malady. Reportedly an aggressive form called mantle cell or B-cell lymphoma, found when he recently had a colonoscopy. He says he intends to continue his radio duties as his health and doctor schedules allow him to. Our thoughts and prayers are out to him for a quick recovery. Hopefully everything turns out well.
Yep.
To the Craftsman Truck Series, where Caden Honeycutt set to drive the first 6 races of the Truck Series this year with Roper Racing. They're putting out Ford F-150s with a 04 on the side. Sponsorship coming from CarQuest Auto Parts and Fly Alliance. Honeycutt posted the news on his social media account, said things would be evaluated after 6 races.
I mean, the 04 truck didn't even hit the track last year. So
Starting fresh.
Was it a stop and reload year, or what was it?
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Derek Krause and Young's Motorsports come to terms on a 1-race deal with hopes of expanding that out as the season progresses. The deal set to put him in the number 20 Chevrolet Silverado at Daytona to open the season with sponsorship from a local company, Jacksonville, Florida's Hardscape Construction. The past 3 seasons, Krause has piloted the number 19 truck for McAnally Hilgeman Racing, racking up 4 top 5 and 24 top 10 results, but no wins in 73 truck starts. Right now it's Daytona, and we don't know what else. So we'll find out. And Truck Series broadcasts all year, remember, done by Fox Sports, led by lead commentator Adam Alexander, at least at Daytona. and he'll split time as the lead commentator with Jamie Little. A lot of that will depend on where Xfinity and Truck happen to be on those particular weekends, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Returning analysts going to be Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons. Regan Smith again doing pit reports alongside Jamie Howe and Amanda Busick.
Yep.
So there you go.
I kind of seen that one coming with Jamie Little getting bumped up to do some Truck Series
Absolutely,
stuff
because she did a fantastic job in ARCA, which we'll get back to.
Yep.
We talked about the rule change regarding the Hale Mellon move. How about some more rule changes ahead of the 2023 season?
You want the one piece of Truck Series news that broke last night?
Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
I've kind of been anticipating what the move would be, but it was released late last night.
We were waiting for this to be official.
Waiting for it to be official and to see. I've kind of had kind of was suspect of what was going on.
Well, you have a connection.
Yeah, a little small connection. But Brett Holmes announced yesterday that they are going to the Craftsman Truck Series full time this year in 2023.
Which is fantastic news, which we kind of figured when it was announced that he was part of the Rookie of the Year class.
Yeah, it kind of was a giveaway that when he went to the Rookie of the Year, and they still released by NASCAR within the Rookie of the Year category. But they'll be competing full time in the 2020 Truck Series. And as we noted last year, Shane Huffman left the team to go to other ventures. So they have pulled in to be the new crew chief, none other than Jerry Baxter, to be the head wrench on the 32 truck. And as well, starting off the season, they're going to be bringing in a new primary sponsor new to the series. It will be Pate Holdings out of Tuscaloosa. And owner Stan Pate is going to be the primary sponsor of the 32 truck for Daytona and more than likely additional races throughout the rest of the year. I'm pretty sure I know of one. It's going to be rolling up at the end of September, just right down the road.
Just about.
It'll be another one.
20 miles from here.
But that one, I'm anxious to see this one.
Yeah.
Because Jerry Baxter is quite the established veteran in the garage, and he's one of them that knows what he's doing. So he's going to pick that crew up a lot.
Did you tell me at some point in time he has a new spotter too?
Yes, Reed Sorensen will be his new spotter this year. Full time.
Then. So it'll be interesting.
Yep.
All right, let's get to these flurry of rule changes. One of the bigger ones, Cup Series road and street course races. There are, but there aren't stage breaks this year. Huh? Yeah. They're going to eliminate the mandatory yellow and selected Xfinity and Craftsman Truck Series races as well. What they're going to do is they'll tell you where those stage breaks would have been. They'll give you a lap count. They'll still award the points, but they're not going to throw a green, white, checkered flag, which will then prompt a yellow flag, which would mean pit stops.
Yippee.
They're going to let you continue racing.
Another headache to deal with throughout the year.
I got to admit, to a certain extent, though, I kind of like it.
I do, too, because there's no sense of stopping a race in the middle of a road course for stage breaks.
No. Didn't need
Let them go.
As noted, this covers all Cup Series road and street course races, while for Xfinity, it'll cover COTA, Sonoma, Chicago, Indy, Watkins Glen, and the Roval. For the Truck Series, it's only going to affect their race at COTA. Road courses where they are going to slow the field down are Portland and Road America for Xfinity. For trucks, they're going to get that yellow at Mid-Ohio, their other road course race. The lap numbers where the green and white checkers would be shown, again, still will be announced. The top 10 will still be awarded stage points, but instead of breaking the action, the racing will continue under green flag conditions. Unless, of course, somebody screws up and gets into a wreck.
Why are they keeping them at Road America?
I have no idea.
At the longest road course on the circuit.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but hey, what do I know? Mainly affecting the Cup Series, but Xfinity and trucks, we got a new penalty regarding detached wheels. Also, playoff eligibility rules have been changed a little bit. There's a choose rule change as well. We'll get into all that when we come back. Wow, we still haven't gotten out of NASCAR yet. We got a long way to go right here on CRN.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back.
Athena's.
2 tires only, and back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
Hey, welcome back in. Matt will rejoin us here momentarily. Continuing on with rule changes in NASCAR for 2023, and this one mainly affects the Cup Series because we don't see it that much every once in a while, but not that much in Xfinity or Truck Series. The detached wheel penalty that was major last year because of that new single lug nut in the Cup Series. In 2022, it was an automatic 4-race suspension for the crew chief, tire changer, and jackman, but most people don't actually know that penalty's been in place since 2015. For 2023, suspension is still possible, but very, very highly unlikely for races, especially. More likely, NASCAR says that a lost wheel, for example, on pit road, if under green flag conditions, will just result in a pass-through penalty. If it's under caution and a tire comes off on pit road, the car will have to restart at the tail end of the field. Should it happen while the car's out on track? New rule states that there is a 2-lap penalty set to be instituted, plus a 2-race suspension for the tire changer and the jackman. But NASCAR notes this will be series specific as well, because a violation in one series won't affect their ability to work in another NASCAR series. So in other words, if you get suspended from the Cup Series, you could still be a jackman or a wheel changer in the Xfinity or Truck Series. Okay.
Well,
whatever works for you.
yeah.
Playoff eligibility rules have been changed up to this year. A driver had to have at least attempted to qualify for every race of the season, and in Cup Series be in the top 30. For Xfinity and Trucks, you needed to be inside the top 20 in points with a win to advance into the playoffs or point your way in. Top 30 and top 20 restrictions, gone. As long as the driver has attempted to make each race or has been granted a waiver by NASCAR ahead of time. So that's in effect. This one I'm a little less sure about, truth be told. I kind of like the idea if you had to be inside the top 30 or top 20, it made you try that much harder.
So it pretty much essentially says, if I was to submit my application to be let's just say now a teammate to the 32 truck.
Okay.
At the 32 and 31's open. Let's say BHR goes to the 31, 32. I'm in the 31. Brett's in the 32.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not having a great year. Okay. I go out. I win Kansas.
I was going to say Daytona.
Well, Daytona, yeah.
We'll give you a great shot at one of the tracks that evens out everybody. Daytona.
I go out and win Daytona, but I have hiccup after hiccup after hiccup after hiccup.
But he has
The
attempted
one win.
every single race with a win.
And by the time the cutoff starts to the playoffs, I'm in 29th. Just because I'm in 29th. And I'm even saying this about myself. Because I'm in 29th.
But he's got to win.
Let's say Steve's got 2 wins.
Because I'm nothing if not consistent.
He's got 2 wins. Plus consistently in the top 10 every week, top 15. Let me back up and say that, because if you got 2 wins, he's locked in already.
I'm locked in, yeah.
He's locked in.
Let's say I got no wins.
He's got no wins, but he's consistently in the top 10, top 15, and it comes down to that one final playoff spot. You mean to tell me I deserve to get in the playoffs over him? No.
But that's how the rules now read. Get used to it. Let's see. Where else are we going? Choose rule for determining the restart order has been expanded. It is now going to be used at the Bristol Dirt Race. And for the very first time, Daytona and Talladega. Yay? Nay?
I've been waiting on this one. Dirt race? Yay. Here's why. Yay to a degree.
Okay.
Here's why. Because once you see the leader make his choose to wherever the track is rubbered up and has the most grip at, that's where you're going to see everybody line up at.
Sure. Absolutely.
You may instantly see a single file restart come back.
Potentially.
I'm serious.
At some point in time, though, here's the thing, and let's use you and me as an example.
Right.
You're leading. You choose. I'll say the upper lane because that's the one that's rubbered in.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm running an 11th and I see, I'm sorry about this, but if I see the top 10 all follow Matt because that's the rubbered in lane, and I've got a chance to go from 11 to start second, I'm taking the bottom lane. That's called track position, boys and girls.
Yeah,
I'm going.
To a degree, it gives the leader more opportunity to find where the grip is and can possibly make a better race.
Now, at Daytona and Talladega,
What are we doing? Where the place that it is the most irrelevant.
I will say this, what this is going to do is it's going to make these teams go, okay, let's see if we can't figure out how to get 2 or more of our team cars together. It's going to be a strategy move. That's it.
This is I can't wait to see this actually up on the perch in April. Because you're going to see all the Chevrolets will start lining up, all the Fords will start lining up, all the Toyotas will be lined up, and it'll be manufacturer war like you've never seen before.
I agree. For the first couple of races of the year, the Geico restart zone going to get a little bit longer. Take as long as it was, cut it in half, and add that to the end. It's going to be another 50% longer than it has been through the Atlanta race, the first Atlanta race, and then NASCAR says they're going to reevaluate that particular rule, see if they want to keep it extended or drop it back to its original length. I'm not really sure that makes one bit of difference one way or the other.
I don't either.
Pit road damaged vehicle policy has seen more time added. Last year, it was 5 minutes on pit road to try and fix your car, or you had to pull it off a pit road or drive it away. Now you got 7 minutes to make your selected repairs. Again, like last year, no specialty tools will be allowed over the pit wall. Tow links, though, can be replaced on pit road, they say. Finally, NASCAR is going to be watching the so-called crew interference on pit road. In other words, racers that'll drive through or into another team's pit stall when coming in for service. Depending on how many they go back, this could now end up in a penalty. To assist the officials, expect new bright orange pit road markings to show up at all tracks as well.
Question for Matt.
Sure.
What's a special tool that would not be allowed over pit wall?
Special tool
Special
not allowed
tool.
over pit wall. The ones that are allowed over pit wall would be gonna be your jack, any wrenches to adjust the rod height, put wedge in or wedge out. I would say any certain kind of saws to do any kind of body work.
In other words, get your bat out because that's all you're going to be left with.
Yeah. I really don't know what would fall under special tool, to be honest with you, because everything that goes over the pit wall is much commonly seen.
Yeah. They didn't detail it. That's why I didn't go down that road. But, yeah, that's their ruling, not ours.
Yeah.
We also recently noted NASCAR is considering the idea of using wet weather tires at more than just the road and now the Chicago street course race. Some short tracks on the list that could be getting possible wet weather equipment. Busch Light Clash this weekend in Los Angeles.
Not going to need it.
Not a problem. Along with Martinsville, New Hampshire, North Wilkesboro, Phoenix, Richmond, Milwaukee Mile, and Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis. All of these have two things in common. They're a mile long or shorter, and they're all quite flat. Note, no Bristol, no Dover.
Not sure about this.
We'll see.
I'm not sure about this because straight at the end of the straightaways, New Hampshire, you're not blazing, but you're not slow. Milwaukee, you're not blazing, but you're not slow. Richmond, again, you're not blazing fast, but you're not slow. All it'll take is one brake, one wheel locking up.
That's it.
And you've got a catastrophe and a half, boys.
We'll find out.
So we're looking at racing in the rain?
Potentially. Potentially.
I would, if it was me, which we think some people do listen because things do come to fruition that are spoken here, I would have limited it to Martinsville, Wilkesboro, and IRP.
Interesting.
Half mile.
Half mile or less.
Yeah.
Start it there first.
And see where you go.
See where it goes.
I got you. Let's see what else we got here. What's the latest on NASCAR's new media rights negotiations? Well, reports are stating that Fox and NBC are interested in continuing their NASCAR TV rights deals, obviously at the right price. There are other things for NASCAR to consider, however. First of all, the percentage of money going to the teams. The current deals with Fox and NBC over the course of its decade of run that ends after the 2024 season will total $8.2 billion. Right now, the best performing teams only get about $8 to $10 million a season out of the TV deal. As costs for the cars and travel and other things continue to rise, teams are noting that those numbers probably should be revised upward. They're hoping to see that figure double. NASCAR has acknowledged that the teams deserve to get a somewhat higher percentage, but they might not necessarily be willing to give the teams double. So that'll set off other negotiations. As far as Fox and NBC, Sports Business Journal is reporting that also there is a streaming rights partnership that is going to become involved, and that Amazon Prime apparently has set themselves up to be front and center for that. Here's the thing. Part of the negotiations likely going to deal with a drop in viewership since the deal began back in 2015. Over the course of time, viewership has dropped about 40% as more and more viewership opportunities come about. But those numbers, this should be in NASCAR's favor, they've leveled off over the past couple of seasons, so it should find themselves in a fairly decent position with inflation and all. It probably will be more than the $8.2 billion that they signed for back in 2015. A former Cup Series champion, former Daytona 500 winner, now teammates ready to race again in 2023, but not in the Cup Series or the Xfinity Series or the Craftsman Truck Series or even ARCA. 2000 Cup Series champion Bobby Labonte set to pair with 2008 Daytona 500 winner Ryan Newman to run for Sadler Stanley Racing this coming season in the Whelen Modified Tour. Sponsorship from Pace-O-Matic. It's not going to be a full-time ride. These guys are going to run selected races. The team, as noted, Sadler Stanley Racing, is co-owned. Former NASCAR driver Hermie Sadler and Virginia State Senator Bill Stanley. Partnership, the names of Labonte and Newman allowed the team effectively that began with one car and one motor just last year to become a two-car operation this year. Labonte says he knows he's going to run at Richmond, North Wilkesboro, and Martinsville. Newman has not said, other than a desire to stay close to home, what his races will end up being. Our prayers go out to the family and friends of NASCAR Mexico Series drivers Max and Federico Gutierrez, brothers, 20 and 17 respectively. They were involved in a fatal car accident just west of Mexico City last weekend. It killed Federico, only 17 years old. He was set to come up and race in the NASCAR Mexico Challenge Series. Actually had joined it last year, and he was going to continue on this year as well, but unfortunately that is not going to happen. As far as the ARCA Menard Series is concerned, one note there, Fox Sports now covering all 20 races of the ARCA Menard Series this year. Jamie Little's back as the main commentator for those races, all appearing either on Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports 2. She'll have Phil Parsons joining her in the booth. Jamie Howe, Heather DeBoe going to cover the action on pit road there. Let's see, more pictures for you on our CRN Live on YouTube feed. Really cool champion rings given out. We've seen them a lot. NFL does it, NBA does it, Major League Baseball, NHL teams, even the champions of college football and NASCAR and IndyCar. You'll get some pretty neat jewelry. SRX didn't want to be left out. Thanks to Mario Andretti's Twitter page on our CRN Live page on YouTube. You get to see that rather sizable ring for the 2022 SRX title. Not bad. Not bad at all.
It's huge.
It is. As for the 2023 title, well, things are wide open. We still don't know the official lineup of the 12 to 13 drivers who are going to take place, but we continue to piece in bit by bit. On Tuesday, the last day of January, the series made a flurry of driver announcements for the upcoming year. First of all, returning drivers. Craftsman Truck Series driver Haley Deegan. She signed on this year. She says she will run the full 6-race season and officially battle for the title. Next up, that guy that we just talked about running in the Whelen Modified Tour, 2000 Cup Series champion Bobby Labonte. Former teammate of Tony Stewart's going to be back for a third season. He says he will run all 6 races. That other guy that we just talked about, another former teammate of Smokes, Ryan Newman, comes back to the SRX Series in 2023, and he is going to run all 6 races as well. Finally, being on Thursday evenings, we're starting to see a whole lot of these Cup Series drivers starting to come in and do 1 or 2 races. We've talked about Kevin Harvick and guys like that. Who's the latest? 2012 Cup Series champion Brad Keselowski. He says not only is he going to battle for the 2023 Cup title, he plans on running all 6 races in the SRX Series as well, trying to claim an SRX title. But why stop there? How about Denny Hamlin?
Why are we not coming back to the fairgrounds, people?
Denny Hamlin, he's going to make his SRX debut this year as well. Only one race that's confirmed. He might add more later, but he is confirmed to set to go to Stafford Speedway in Connecticut.
Interesting.
We ain't done there. Trust me.
No.
More names are coming. Excuse me. Throat dry. Past couple of days out in California, not only have they been prepping for NASCAR to arrive in the LA area, further up that coast, not too far, Palm Springs. Thermal, to be exact. It's kind of like a suburb of Palm Springs. They've been setting up, and Thursday and yesterday, as we are live, Saturday, they have hosted the NTT Data IndyCar Series for preseason testing this year for the first time ever. Facility? Really cool place. I've gotten to see pictures of it. World-class motorsports club just outside of Palm Springs. Been open for just over a decade.
Yeah.
For IndyCar, they modified the north and south courses, which can be split apart. And this 17-turn, 2.9-mile layout that they have actually combines aspects of the north and the south layouts. This is the first and only open test session that leads to the 2023 season, which will begin in early March. The results of day one of testing, 27 cars, all of the full-timers, participated. Incoming rookie Stingray Robb ran the most laps at 63. Among veterans, David Malukas ran 55 laps. It was a very tight field, only 1.2 seconds separating first, Colton Herta, from 27th, rookie Benjamin Peterson. Herta's fast lap of day one came through in 1 minute, 39.3721 seconds at 111 miles per hour. Less than 1 second split the top 18 on the speed chart.
That's tight.
Day two, fastest time was set by Kyle Kirkwood, who moved from AJ Foyt Racing to Andretti Autosport from 2022 to 2023. End times dropped in the morning, and then in the evening session, a little bit more, into the 138 range. Kirkwood's fast time of the day, 138.8279. More drivers got comfortable in day two as well. This time, 21 drivers all within 1 second of that fast time. Santino Ferrucci was last on the speed chart. His fast time, 140.2833. Still not bad. That's about a second and a half. Scott Dixon, ninth fastest of all times posted, ran the most laps, 35. Kirkwood, he might have had a technical problem. He ran the fewest. Or then again, he might have just ran that fast lap and said, you know what? I'm happy. I'm done.
Yeah.
He ran the fewest. Hello. The drivers were all very highly complimentary of this thermal course, and after day one, and when they met with the media, they all seemed to think that the track was, right now, IndyCar ready. Could host a race now if they and IndyCar wanted to make it happen. I've said this before. I'll say it again. 17 races. Starts in March, ends in September.
Plenty of area to add one.
All kinds of room. NASCAR, Formula One, NHRA, they're all going into November, boys and girls.
Yeah.
You're ending in September. Come on. This is California. We've talked about how it's dry, especially in the southern part near Palm Springs and Thermal. You could run that in October, not have any problem at all. Let's make it at least an 18-race slate, shall we?
Yep.
Soon.
I agree.
And there's a little place that we've talked about on the show before and actually got a brochure for up in Tennessee, not too far away from Nashville. That's a little motor club that you might want to go talk to as well. Mm-hmm. Just saying. Mm-hmm. When we come back, more pictures to show off as we have some more IndyCar news right here on CRN.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. fuel only. Fuel only. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Time running out on us quickly. Let's see how much of this news we can actually get to. And we start off with another picture. Junko's Hollinger Racing, ahead of the test session, showed off their 2023 look, got themselves a new one, got a base black color, throwing in a little bit of green and white for the numbering and lettering for drivers Callum Ilott and the 77, I should say, and the number 78, driven by rookie Argentinian driver Agustin Canapino. You can see that picture on our CRN Live YouTube feed, thanks to Indycar.com for the image. Pretty sharp-looking car. I'm not big on green, but that's a pretty sharp-looking car.
It's not bad.
Over the past several years, the famed Indy 500 has been worth twice the points for the drivers, noting the specialness of that race. But after a decade with that rule, they're scrapping it. It's only going to be worth the same amount of points as every other race, save for the season finale. Why? Well, IndyCar president Jay Fry said when they made the announcement, quote, while double points at the Indy 500 has not altered who won the season-long championship, occasionally it has had a negative effect on the final position of the full-time teams. As our entry list grows, this move will provide consistency for teams competing for championship positions while not diminishing the importance of the greatest spectacle in racing. Fry noted that the season finale, which will continue to award double points, has actually been the decider of the title winner in 17 straight seasons. In other words, they haven't crowned a winner before that. Formula One. Did I just call out Formula One? Yeah, I did. I say we make our transition to them, shall we?
Sure.
That brings us to another picture. We've been detailing it here on the show the past few months. Audi set to join with Sauber beginning in the 2026 season. Sauber going to be in charge of the chassis, Audi in charge of the powertrains, in what really isn't much of a surprise to us here on the show, but has now officially become official. Audi has now become a part owner of the team as well, even before the competing car company Alfa Romeo is done as a sponsor. Late in 2022, Audi officials laid out the plan with Sauber that would effectively turn the Sauber operation into an Audi Works team. Led us here on the show kind of to wonder how long before Audi officially became a part owner. Monday, the Sauber Group put out a statement, said they are, quote, pleased to announce that as per the plans outlined in October last year, Audi has acquired a minority stake in the Sauber Group in January 2023. This is an important milestone on the way to Audi's entry into Formula One, scheduled for 2026, which the Sauber Group is going to be German brand's strategic partner. The picture there is not, by the way, how that car is going to look. Thank you to Formula1.com for the picture here. That was just, I got to admit, a pretty cool mock-up by Audi to help announce them coming into the series.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Hey, I think it looks sharp.
It wouldn't bother me if the final car looked like that.
No.
It'd be a pretty sharp look. As for the next look, the very first Formula One livery or paint scheme or look for 2023 came out, courtesy of Haas F1's website. Tuesday, it came out. The car is an old one, so don't think that that's how the 2023 car is going to look. But the paint scheme, the overall look of the car as far as how all the sponsorships and where all the colors are going to be, that's proper. You can see it on our CRN Live feed on YouTube right now. As Matt noted, and they must have been listening to us, because you said they needed to add a little bit more black into their red, white, and black paint scheme that they've been known for pretty much since they joined. For those of you looking at it from the top, it really doesn't look like it changes much. Over the top of the car, white with red sponsor logos and black numbers from the nose all the way to the halo surrounding the driver. But now if you get a side view, which is what we have on the CRN Live YouTube feed, along the sides of the car, a whole lot of black with white lettering. Black going up and over the engine cover, where at the top you're going to see the new title sponsor, MoneyGram, with their logo. The black continues over to the rear wing sides with the actual lip being red, talking about that rear wing with the White Haas logo on it.
Dear Gene, Gunther, and all of the staff at Haas F1 are coming up with that image right there. All royalties and fees will be sent to CRN here in Alabama.
We appreciate it. Team boss Gunther Steiner said of this, quote, I obviously share everyone's enthusiasm around this livery unveil, not least as it's a checkpoint in the preseason calendar, which means we're another step closer to doing the thing we actually want to be doing, and that's going racing. I like the livery. You're not the only one, Gunther. It's undoubtedly more elevated, modernized look, which is fitting as we move into a new era alongside MoneyGram as our title partner. It's an exciting time of the year for Formula One, and it's great that we get first out of the gate to showcase our livery, but our attention is now firmly on getting the VF23 on the track and preparing for the season ahead. That brings us to former Haas F1 driver Mick Schumacher, who, again, out of a ride, he's landed fairly gracefully as well. He's joined Mercedes, not as a full-time driver, but an official reserve driver in 2023, and with McLaren too. Wait, huh? What? Huh? Mercedes and McLaren? Yep.
So I can drive for 2 instead of 1? Sweet.
Yep. If you're Mick Schumacher, you can. McLaren and Mercedes apparently did some talking behind the scenes. They came to terms on a share the driver deal that now has Schumacher joining IndyCar regular Alex Palou as a reserve driver over there. See, McLaren wants Palou to be able to concentrate on winning the 2023 IndyCar title. So if Formula One actually needed a reserve driver, but an IndyCar race conflicted with it, McLaren now has a backup, so Palou can continue to race the IndyCar to fight for the championship. And Mick Schumacher, assuming he's not already doing a race for Mercedes, could run the McLaren.
I was about to say, what happens if Mercedes has Schumacher already in a seat for a reserve role? My passport's not updated, boys. Sorry.
You might want to work on that.
Yeah, I may want to.
Our final picture of the weekend deals with Red Bull Racing. They showed off their 2023 racer in New York City. They didn't show off the new car, just the look, which is remarkably similar to last year's look. It's codenamed RB19. The team has the two-time defending champion Max Verstappen, and they are, of course, the defending Constructors' Cup champions. They're the betting favorite on 2023. You got a high mark to live up to, as Verstappen won a Formula One record 15 races last year, while his teammate Sergio Perez claimed 3 more along the way. The image, by the way, came from Red Bull Racing's official reveal yesterday, so thank them for that. As for one aspect of the look, if you note right along the sides of the engine cover, it's got that Honda logo. Don't expect that logo to be there much longer. Honda continues to give the team technical support for the engines. Honda designed them, after all, and they are going to continue to do that through the 2025 season. And despite Honda considering, and we're going to get back to this in a minute, considering getting back into the sport fully as an engine provider for the 2026 season, apparently it ain't going to be them. There was a lot of talk about Honda going back to being that full engine provider for Red Bull and their sister operation, AlphaTauri. Nope, scratch that. Red Bull.
Here's where you need the cue of good old JR in the WWE saying, "Oh God, that's their music."
Red Bull has officially come to terms with a new engine partner beginning in the 2026 season, which will partner with a newly formed Red Bull Powertrains company shop based in England. It is, ladies and gentlemen, the Ford Motor Company.
Who said this should happen? Who said it should happen? Ford, I expect a bigger check than Haas is going to be sending.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You got more money. The department is already working on the basics, they say, of a new for 2026 engine. Ford engineers are now going to take part in the development of both components of the powertrain, the internal combustion engine, and the hybrid aspect of it. According to the companies, Ford's involvement is now being labeled as strategic and, quote, will provide expertise in areas including battery cell and electric motor technology, as well as power unit control software and analytics, and combustion engine development. Basically, this is all to say that the deal brings Ford back into the sport that it ducked out of in 2004, back when they were with the Jaguar team. When the Jaguar team sold their operation, Ford backed out. Who did Jaguar sell to? Oh, that's right. Red Bull. Huh. Go figure.
Who says you can't go home?
Yeah, no kidding. And finally, we're going to get in everything. Who knew?
Wow.
The FIA's application process for new teams to potentially join the Formula One lineup is now officially open to interested parties. Under this process, detailed by the FIA on Thursday, it states any team that can prove they are capable of, their words, participating at a competitive level in Formula One can apply. But for the first time, they now actually have to include an outline that gives some detail for their future that they state aligns with both of the goals of the FIA and Formula One. Okay. In addition to that, as something of a nod to the commercial rights holders of Formula One, Liberty Media, the FIA states that the application process notes Liberty can, if they decide to do so, impose their own criteria that the applicants must also meet. Oh, that's going to be a quagmire.
Yes, sir.
I can see this becoming a mess right now. This is going to be ugly. John?
It just seems to me that they're trying to keep a certain team out of F1.
Yes.
Seems to be.
It does seem that way. Does the phrase "too many cooks spoil the soup" come to mind? How about the politically incorrect "too many chiefs, not enough Indians"?
The phrase elitist comes to mind.
Ding.
The latest Concord agreement between the F1, the FIA, and the team states that there can be as many as 12 teams and 24 cars for any particular year. The first year, obviously, that any team would actually be allowed to join the starting lineup would be the 2025 season. That said, 2026 is more likely because of the implementation of the new engine rules coming in for that year. Now, the last new team to join in, Haas F1, which joined in 2026. Before that, it was 2010. 2010, not 2010. That's a long time from now. Wow, Back to the Future, anyone?
I say, we might not be here, West.
I'm probably not. And if I am, I'm not going to smell too good. When 3 new teams joined in back in 2010, it was HRT, Marussia, and Caterham. All 3 since folded. Virgin Racing, which never scored a championship point, they joined in 2010 as well, but they merged with Marussia the very next year, and, well, that Manor Marussia thing just died a quick death. For 2026, remember, we just talked about Honda, which has expressed an interest in getting back in. We've also talked about Ford now officially joining. We now have 6 confirmed power unit suppliers. Think about that. Alpine, which is, of course, Renault. They've been in there for a while. Audi, which we talked about at the beginning of this segment. They're coming in with Sauber as an official power unit supplier. There's Ferrari, longtime guys. There's Honda. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get back to that. Honda has now officially said, yeah, we're going to be, once again, an official power unit supplier for Formula One beginning in 2026. But they ain't got no team. Mercedes, and now officially, as they're known, Red Bull Ford. 6 official power unit suppliers in Formula One for the new engine regulations coming in 2026. Pending the application process we just detailed, which could, if some of these Formula One teams and Liberty Media can get the stick out of their hindquarters, would allow General Motors and Cadillac to officially become a supplier with Andretti Autosport. Then, so that's potentially 7. But wait, what about Porsche? They're still interested in getting into Formula One, but kind of like Honda, have not yet aligned by any team. So by 2026, we could have 8 power unit suppliers for 12 teams.
Porsche goes to Aston Martin.
I could see that.
Honda goes to McLaren.
Could see that because they're aligned already in IndyCar. GM/Cadillac with Andretti. Red Bull with Ford. AlphaTauri
so you
with Ford.
essentially have Mercedes
Themselves and Williams.
And them's and Williams, yep.
Haas F1 with Ferrari and Ferrari, obviously.
There's your other 4 teams right there. Every other team is manufacturally aligned with an engine supplier.
And Alpine probably wouldn't have too much of a problem with that because now they get to concentrate on just their own engines with their own car. Not really a bad deal for them, huh?
Nope.
I said this before, I'll say it again. All of you Formula One teams that are against an Andretti Autosport or another team coming in and making it 11 or 12, you're short-sighted. Get an American-based team, Andretti Autosport, in there and an American-based driver and give the United States, the biggest sports market in the world, something more to root for. You become more popular. You get more money. It's that simple. We're problem solvers right here on the Championship Racing Network.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.